When were you actually offered the position then?
It was probably, like I say, late January, last couple of weeks in January.
How long did it take you? Like, was it one of those things that you just immediately said yes, you wanted it, or did you?
Well, I think when you're in this profession, and I've been coaching for 24 years with the secondary, that you always have goals and set and what you want to do, and it seemed like a good opportunity for me and for my family. I think when you look around and you have chances to go at other opportunities to go other places to be a coordinator, that I really wanted to stay here because of my family, and it just happened to be as a great opportunity here when the opening of Norm retiring that I might be a candidate.
In what ways are you and will be different, I guess, from what Iowa has had over the last 13 years with Norm as a defensive coordinator?
Well, I don't know how much is going to be different. I mean, we're going to stay in the 4-3. There might be a little bit more things, how we prepare, how we look at things. May try to, maybe get a guy down a little bit more than we usually do. But really, when it comes down to it, you're still teaching fundamentals, and it's going to come down to getting off blocks and making tackles.
Has Norm given you any advice as you kind of transition into this role?
Norm, the advice he probably gave me was, you got to do it your way, the way you want to do it, and because obviously it's your job, you're the one in charge, and you got to do it your way, and you can't do it. To me, it's just be yourself, and if I can just be myself and do what I do, then we'll see where it goes from there.
Being a defensive backs coach for many years, will you be looking at maybe using more defensive backs on slot receivers where Norm's kind of used linebackers? Will you?
Well, one thing that I think when you go into it is, you're going to probably look at the team different a little bit when they come out in blue personnel and different personnel groupings against those slot receivers. But then you also got to evaluate exactly who's going in the game and how much more will they bring at that position than the guy you already have there. So I think you got to do a lot of evaluation on, is the guy you bringing in, and he's not a starter right now, is he going to perform just as well as the other guy that's in the game? So that's going to be something that we're going to have to work on and focus on and concentrate.
When this job became open, how confident were you that it would end up in your hands?
I don't think I ever really thought about it. I know that Kirk is, he's a very thorough guy, and he takes his time and when he makes decisions. I remember when I first came here, was it 13 years ago? It was a long process in there when I first heard about the job until I actually was the last guy that was hired on the staff here when he first showed up 13 years ago. So I kind of knew his method and how he went through his procedures. He's a very thorough guy. He does a lot of research on you, and so I knew if he was going to be inside that he was going to take his time.
Are you going to blitz more?
Yeah, well,
I'm just kidding. So that's just what everybody says about.
That's everybody has opinions. I was going to ask you if you could draw me up a couple blitzes. And
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how much authority or flexibility do you have going forward to make changes or innovate maybe a bit more?
Well, I think Kirk is still the head coach, so I don't think that I'm going to do anything too crazy. I mean, I'm going to believe in what I believe on defense, what you need to do, and I think over the last 13 years, I kind of formed my opinions on what I like to do. So, and they're not too much out of line of what we've been doing.
You're going to want to recruit, I imagine, because you've really made some headway in Ohio. Iowa has a lot of Ohio kids. I think that's a lot you, maybe some Reese.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of, Ken O'Keefe was recruiting there a little bit in Ohio too. I think, that's one thing I didn't think about too much when we talked about it, but there's going to be some opportunities hopefully to get out there and still have, use my connections that we have. Whether that works or not, I don't know, but being out there on the road a little bit more and seeing everybody, I'm not going to have that chance and opportunity like I did before to see so many coaches and get information from people. But I think I still will be on the road at some time in recruiting.
So you said that this was not the first coordinator job you've been offered. Did you say that earlier, that over the years since you've been here? You ever close to leaving here before this? Or?
There was a couple times that I really had to think, and mull it over, but all came back to family, you know. My kids, you know, I've seen a lot of coaches out there over, you know, the 24 years that I've been around, talking to them that they've been, I know one guy specifically has had 15 different jobs since 1990, so I'm, you know, that's hard for me. I didn't want that. When I first made the decision to come here 13 years ago, one thing I knew about growing up in Ohio, being in the Big Ten area, going to Michigan State and playing there, and playing against Iowa, that the one thing that stood out to me that coaches stayed here, and there was a reason for that. And not only because they were winning, because this is a great city to be in. And to me, it was an opportunity to bring my family here, the education, and actually go through high school, through one high school.
This seems like a silly question, but will you be on the sideline or in the press box?
Good question. I'm mulling that over right now. I
Oh, really?
really don't know. You know, there's different opinions on both sides, so I'm gonna think that one through.